Makura, Micro, Miracle, 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 Miracle.
Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and today is Campaign Diary number 14, I believe I'm right, Campaign Diary number 14 for Hoard of the Dragon Queen, just in case you're just tuning in and like, hey, what's this video? Well, we're talking about Hoard of the Dragon Queen. We're in Chapter 6, the Swamp or Mere of Dead Men. Swamp, Mere, I don't know, kind of the same thing, right? But we are trudging through, and I think we're on like session 5. Maybe going on to session 6. The swamp has taken up a huge amount of time in the campaign. And if you're running this, just so you know, I mean, chapter 6 has really taken up more time than I ever thought it would. And we haven't reached the castle yet. I'm not sure how long that's going to take. I have my thoughts on that, as far as the castle and the caverns and how to operate that, how to work that. But I know I'm going to be doing a lot of editing, all right? Lots of editing. But anyway, so we are in the swamp. If you watched any of the tabletop simulator maps involving the Mirror or the last campaign diary, you'll know that the characters were on the bridge. The bridge was made by the humans that had taken over the castle long ago to bring in trade goods and whatnot. Well, they're on this old decrepit bridge, and they had just finished off fighting giant crocodiles because our thief said, hey, there's a shiny thing over there. Let's go look at it, and jumped into the swamp, and one thing led to another. But they managed to fight off all the giant crocodiles, but at the same time, because of the noise and the magic effects going off and all kinds of things, yelling, screaming, blah, blah, well, they woke up giant centipedes that were slumbering under the bridge, which really was an optional combat. You know, they didn't know this, but I mean, they were there. But so they ended up engaging them and the giant crocodile at the same time. But this night opened up with him fighting off the giant centipedes. You probably can see here on the tabletop simulator map where all the giant centipedes are. They kind of ascended or descended onto them. Our druid was still a spider. She had a little bit of a webbing going on back and forth across the broken pieces of bridge to help, you know, transport the characters over, like lickety-split. No one was having to work with grappling hooks or jump across or swim across or anything like that. Well, the centipedes try to take advantage of that webbing, getting from point A to point B, because some of them appeared kind of on those broken pieces in the map. And we're trying to get over, and of course one got stuck, one made it across, but of course it gave him advantage on the hits because most of these centipedes were restrained. But for the most part, everybody did fairly well. It wasn't an aggressive, crazy combat. There were 8 centipedes all together, and even then, the heroes managed to wipe the floor with them. So to say the heroes at level 5 are pretty powerful is an understatement. They are powerful. Even though I kicked up a lot of hit points, kept the armor class the same. I don't typically will mess with that, especially with animals and wildlife and Dungeons & Dragons. I feel like their normal hides, the shells, different things they have on them, probably right. I think the AC is probably good on those. But I typically will try to bump up the hit points. Funny enough, Frulam kept getting hit, I think, out of everybody. Some people did take damage, don't get me wrong, but Frulam kept getting hit over and over and over again. She continues to be a kind of an inept NPC, and that's not how I see her at all. This is why fudging rolls, and I'm all for that. Fudging rolls in Dungeons & Dragons works because sometimes, and I don't do it all the time, it's when things like this happen. Like when you have an NPC that you want to have be competent and be a great warrior, and all they do is miss and miss and miss and miss. It just becomes really aggravating, right? Extremely aggravating. And then it actually changes players' perceptions on your NPC. They start to think, well, what use is this person? They're not doing anything. Their spells never work. They never hit anything. They're just another mouth to feed. So Frulam kind of kept missing, even though she could attack twice, over and over and over again, because I was doing real live rolls. But you know, if this continues, I got to change that up because it's just being ridiculous. But anyway, so they finish off the large centipedes, and this is where I introduce Snapjaw. Now, if you go and you can watch or listen to a radio drama on this. This is how I introduced Snapjaw. You don't have to do this, of course. This is not exactly how the book describes it. I skipped an entire section in the book because normally the players are supposed to get to a campsite. And at this campsite, it's next to a large body of water in the swamp. And here comes Snapjaw. The night, I guess the character's supposed to sleep overnight, right? You could play it anyway, but they camp at night. They have a safe spot, I don't know, in the swamp, if I could say that. And Snapjaw's supposed to roll up in a boat with a bunch of his buddies, and that's when they make contact. And Snapjaw tries to tell them, "Hey, this is going on, and we need help, and we want to revolt, but I can't seem to get my other guys other lizard folk to comply with this, even though they kind of want to, but there's not enough there." Well, I kind of skipped all that. Even though I'd made a tabletop simulator map, I'll put that up here, involving that scenario, because I anticipated I would go that route. But then I decided, that wasn't dramatic enough for me. Like, I don't know, I didn't like that introduction. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just in my campaign, my players, and what was going on, it just didn't work. So, I hope I did skip over this. The radio drama you can go listen to, and that shows you how I introduced Snapjaw, more of a separatist, kind of a guerrilla fighter who was trying to inspire the lizard folk to rebel. And that radio drama actually starts out with it's a long one. It's a long one. It's 11 minutes, 41 seconds. You can skip like the first 4.5 minutes or so if you want to, because it deals with an encounter at Waterdeep. But those last two scenes in the radio drama concern the swamp and the NPCs and all the new people that are involved. But in that radio drama is Snapjaw attacking the castle. So that's how I introduced him there. But they are fighting the centipedes. Things calm down. They're trying to figure out what to do next. And up behind them comes Snapjaw. Matter of fact, a bunch of the lizard folk swung onto the bridge, and the lizard folk, Snapjaw, had been watching them all the way back a couple sessions ago when they fought the bullywugs when they first got into the swamp. And he was keeping his eye on them just to see, okay, who are these people? They're not cultists. Something is different here. The cultists don't act this way. So he was kind of keeping his eye on them, and then he saw how they took out the crocodiles and the giant centipedes and how they were, coordinating themselves in battle. And he thought, hey, these are people that could help us because they're not in the cult and they're powerful. So he appears on the bridge with his outcast clan. He wants to take them back to the camp. And they have they can converse back there on the bridge, back and forth, about what we're going to do, who are you, those kinds of things. And eventually he leads them, as they would in the book, if they would have met at the campsite, leads them back to his people to kind of negotiate terms. Well, same thing happened here. They talked, they kind of trusted one another, and they went back to the camp. And there's a little bit of lore that in the book where it just sets up some backstory stuff. And Snapjaw saw them as a sign. That's a big deal. Okay? Lizard folk are shamanistic. They're looking at, symbolism and different things around the swamp. So they're expecting a sign. And the shamans are in charge of them. At least that's how I'm running it. I'm sure that's how it's probably ran anyway. But the shamans are in charge. And though they have quietly sanctioned Snapjaw and what he's been doing, his most recent events were terrible. They didn't work right. So they kind of said no more until we have a clear-cut sign that we are to revolt against the castle. Well, Snapjaw walks into camp, and here's 5 heroes. And the shamans came out. The main shaman, I had a secondary shaman, kind of maybe like a tutor, not a tutor, an apprentice. There's the word. But he's learning how to do things, and they're kind of watching, and they start conversing with the characters. And for a while there, the conversation wasn't going anywhere. I mean, we were conversing, and things were fine, but the shaman was not convinced at all by these 5 people, even though Snapjaw had been. That's what I kept thinking as we were all talking and whatnot, because just the talk wasn't really doing anything. 5 people showing up in the swamp, random mercenaries, weren't a big enough sign. And I thought, listen, you guys just twirling your swords around and whatnot, I'm not going to convince shamans of anything. I'm going to need more. Well, they started to, after a few minutes of talking, decided to start showing off their power. And at first I thought, well, okay, I'll just watch this and see what they do. Well, they showed off everything. I mean, we had the druid transforming into all kinds of things and spawning crocodiles and, everybody just showing their power. And I thought, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot you're doing here. So the shaman, and this is like 30 minutes of play, right? 30, 45 minutes of play. The shaman eventually said, okay, I can see potential here. I can see power. So he was convinced. He was convinced that maybe they could be the ones to help them. But the problem being, maybe for him and maybe for the guys that are there, but there's still lizard folk back at the castle. They don't like where they're at. They don't like their situation. Some do, but most don't. And there needs to be more. There needs to be more. And at first I thought, okay, I'm going to send the characters out there. They can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They can go to the castle now. They have Snapjaw and his people at their disposal. And there's going to be a specific way we run this coming up. But there was one other thing. They needed just a bit more. Just a bit more. And this was an optional side quest. Optional side quest I put out there. It wouldn't have changed it. Actually, it would end up changing things big time for them if they went there. But had they gone to the castle as originally planned with nothing else, it would have been manageable. But this kind of changed the tides a little bit. And the second quest that I just put out there as an option for them to do was the young apprentice came up and said, hey, look, you did these powerful things. I can see the power in you and what you are capable of doing. But if you really want to inspire, if you really want to bring a powerful sign and have everybody, all the lizard folk at your disposal as an army, you need to find the rings of Mercurial. Mercurial. I cannot pronounce anything in this book. Anyway, find the rings. And this is kind of an offshoot idea that I got when I was researching Hoard Dragon Queen. I can't remember the guy's name. He kind of talked about this. Things I didn't know about, like backstories of the swamp, that became pretty darn interesting, and I liked them. Well, the lizard folk talked about how the undead have kind of attacked their camps. They're kind of a problem. They've dealt with them before. And of course, the swamp is always going to have undead. They're always going to be there. They're never going to go away. But this one particular clan, if you want to call them, this group, this army of undead, were continually being a problem. Well, this piqued the interest of the cleric, who now is a doom guide and has set out to purge everybody, purge the undead. And this got her all excited. She was ready to go. Okay, yes, we're going to do this. And the shaman, the apprentice, talked about, look, we're always going to have undead, but we do have this problem. If you go there, there's what they call the ring of Mercurial, whatever. If you could bring that back to us, that would be a powerful sign. And you will have even more lizard folk at your disposal and a powerful ally. A powerful ally. You didn't quite elaborate on that, but another powerful ally. So after much discussing, they decided to go off in that direction towards the undead, where they were kind of roughly located, where the shaman thought they were. So that's it. That's pretty much almost where we left off. They kind of made this deal, and they went off into the swamp. Anodyne, Clover, the pixie, was frustrated. She keeps seeing the people she's with in her mind. This is not a DM. This is not me being critical of the game, but in her mind, the NPC, she's grown frustrated because every time they step out, they get distracted. And they're kind of going here and going there, and she's very frustrated by that. So she made it very clear that this is the last time. This is the last time I am swaying and being delayed and moving off course here. My sister, Cricket, is in this castle, and we have to get to her before she's transported somewhere else, because they've kind of been chasing after her for a while. So Anodyne was very upset by this. And Frulam is she wants to take the fight to the cult, so she has no problems with this, but even she also is a little reluctant. She went along with them to go fight the undead, but a little reluctant in her mind because of, look, why are we doing this? The castle is that way. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's the campaign diary. That's all that's happened. We started this Friday with them at the undead sanctuary and taking out the undead, and who knows what they're going to do. But will they keep the ring of Mercurial? Will they bring it back? Who knows? I mean, this whole thing, this whole deal can go south, I think, at any moment. But we'll see. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping up with the campaign diary, and I'll see you in the next video.
Mercurial.